All right, everyone, welcome back to another Watch and Talk here at Automotive Anatomy. So that was like the third time doing the intro, and it still wasn't better. So whatever, we're gonna go roll with it. Um, Man, Jackie looks so good like this, so good. I'm so happy. I'm so glad that Francisco Mata has that craftsmanship, and he was able to help me out. Now it's going on 4 years because I remember I was working from home at the time, and then he got the car. I like to say sometime November, December, and ideally I was gonna get it back by January 20 or 21. I can't remember, but I had to go back to work in person, and the car wasn't ready. So that's how about Rosie. So I'm actually happy that Jackie wasn't ready, because then I was able to purchase Rosie. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have been bought another car. Just to be honest with you guys, or maybe I would have, because at the time Francisco had a fifth gen who he manual swap wagon, and I was like, dude, this is so sick. And then he sold it, and I already had Rosie. I even contemplated of buying it, but I was like, nah, there's no need for a third car. But of course, you guys know I ended up getting an E30. But anyways, that's besides the point. So yeah, another watch and talk. So far, no problem from HOA. So we'll see, because they're cracking down the parking now. They People were parking here overnight, and it was becoming an issue. So now they're requesting of parking permits for anybody that parks on the unassigned areas. And so luckily for us, that doesn't apply to us. But it is kind of crazy that we have three spots, and I have three cars, and I want more cars. I get it. It's an addiction. But yeah, I just want to tune in with you guys, kind of share with you guys my thought process on, or at least my perspective on being a dad, and being an adult. Um, an adult with no safety net aside from myself, right? I was having a discussion with my buddy Easy a couple of days back. Um, Comparison is crazy, because especially in the car game, when I went to the Honda meet, I saw so many cool cars, right? So many cars that I want, so many different styles. Um, it makes you want to go and buy that case swap. It makes you want to go buy those wheels. It makes you want to go get that paint job. And you know, I think it's a good thing, but at the same time, when we don't know other people's finances, other people's setups, other people's circumstances, I think we're doing a disservice to ourselves. Um, we were having a discussion where Easy and I are in the same boat, where we don't come from families that have a lot of money, or we don't come from families that necessarily have generational wealth. Um, in essence, we're betting on ourselves. We're building individually, slowly. And I know there's a lot of you guys out there the same thing. You guys have a 9 to 5. You guys have families, or maybe you don't have families, but you are the person that family calls when they need help, or you are the only one. Like if you can't make your bills, like, you can't just call your mom or dad or uncle or whoever and say, hey, bail me out. Like, there are a lot of us like that. And not that I think about it every single day, but there are some, sleepless nights. There are some very long nights where I guess I just contemplate about everything and anything, right? Um, my buddy Rafa DM me a while back. He's like, "Yeah, how's being a dad?" And I was like, "Well, the fact that I was crying for like 2 3 hours by myself, um, or just stressing out last night, should tell you everything." Uh, but it's not. Obviously, I go through those thinking emotions as well. You guys know that I'm very um, pro mindset. If your mindset is not right, there's nothing in this world that can save you. I've always thought about that. Um, and yeah, there are some melancholy nights, some emotional nights. This particular one, I was thinking about my grandma, and I would have loved for her to have been able to help my son, and that's just not possible. Um, and you kind of start with that rabbit hole, and then you start thinking like, damn, like, I can't die, because my son depends on me, and I also want to grow old, and see him grow up, and I'm not sure if I'm the only one who thinks that like this. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I shouldn't think that much. Um, but the more I have conversations with other, dads out there, uh, I get the same message like, yeah, dude, you're not the only one. We stress out a lot too. And it's quiet. Sometimes it's quietly, sometimes it's not. You guys know I'm a huge nerd when it comes to budgeting. So I make sure that I tell my wife like, hey, these are the finances. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. And the thing is, I'm a very numbers oriented type of dude. So I'm the guy who says, I don't have money when I have money in the bank type of thing. Like that's my mentality. I don't, and again, it stems back from. There's been times where I had $0 in my pocket. My mom, she believed that education is important, but she also knew that it was expensive. So when I was going to community college, I was able to get some assistance. When I went to, Cal State Fullerton, a four-year university, it was on me. And I remember asking my mom for, some help with the application. I think it was $200. Can't remember. It was something ridiculous, but I asked her for another help another month, and she was like, "Look, I can't give you money every month." And I was like, "Oh, you're right." But I was struggling. I was working fast food, and so I've been through those moments, right? So that's why like now I'm like, no, we don't have money for this, we don't have money for that, and I tell her, when we, including her and myself, when we look at other people, go on vacations this summer, you don't know their finances, you don't know their backgrounds, you don't know if their family has a timeshare and that's why they keep going to the same freaking resorts, right? You also have to remember that we come from the different backgrounds, and we are going to accomplish things at our own pace. And if we try to keep up with the Joneses, in essence, we may put ourselves in a disadvantage, because as I think, if my wife needed to stay home, then I'm gonna get another job and that's it. And it's one of those things where, I had a conversation with my coworker who was like, yeah, I felt bad coming back from baby bonding time, but we need the money. We need the money. And I told him, and he thought it was pretty funny, but I told him, yeah, guilt doesn't pay the bills. I feel guilty leaving my son every morning, but I I guess I could lower my lifestyle. That's definitely a plus. But then he wouldn't be able to get those, I guess, experience that he's having now. And now you guys can see why I stay up at night a lot, because I overthink things, and I try to plan as much as I can. I'm very well aware that life will, you know, throw you curveballs, and I'll hand you lemonade or lemons, and you have to make lemonade out of it. But I think what keeps me sane is knowing that I'm trying to do the best by my family. That K supercharged build, I want it. I love it. I will get it. When? Don't know. That Porsche, want it. I'll get it. When? Don't know when. But it doesn't override anything that I need to do with my family. And I know a lot of you guys can understand that. A lot of us wish we had, a bigger car or a newer car or go on more trips. But just letting you know, like, you're not ahead, you're not behind, whoever you are. Just know that you're running your own race, because you may look at me and say, "Damn, that dude's channel keeps blowing up," and I wish I could be there. It takes time. There's times that I'm like, "Damn, why are we so stagnant?" You know. But if I compare myself, I don't think, people say you're never gonna compare to someone who you believe they're doing worse than you, right? Whether they are, they're not. It's just your perception. When it comes to numbers and YouTube, yeah, I'm not gonna compare myself with someone who has 10,000 subscribers, because I'm like, well, I have more than them. But if I compare myself with someone who has 100,000, then I'm gonna feel bad because that means that I'm doing something wrong, or that means that I'm not achieving to my full potential. We know that's not true, but it's difficult, and that's the reason why I want to have this conversation about just comparing yourself. Um, the more I know about people, I know that financially, sometimes they make very good money, and they make very poor decisions, and you can YOLO it. I met a lot of people who have that mentality. You only live once, and that's perfectly fine for them. I'm not saying that that's the wrong way of living. I'm not even saying my way, of living is the right way. But once you get to know their story a little bit more, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I understand when you have that you only live once mentality, because in case something really does go bad, you do have a safety net. Your parents can take out a loan against the house, or a HELOC, or there's money that your grandma left you that you're paying them. I had one of my buddies who, he's like, dude, I got $30,000 from this uncle that I really never really met, and I was like, that's dope. He's like, yeah, dude, he was loaded, and I was like, yeah, apparently. Um, he's like, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna remodel the house, and I'm gonna do this and that, and it got me thinking, because I'm like, okay, I constantly have to remind myself, like, enjoy life, because yes, we our time is limited here. But at the same time, you can't save every dollar, because you save it, and then you think you're doing a good thing by giving it to your future generations, and then they go and blow it all because they didn't work hard for it, and because they didn't budget for it. So shoot, if I get $10,000, I'm just gonna go blow it on a car. So as you guys can imagine, I go back and forth on what the right avenue, pathway, direction to go. Um, Obviously, growing up without a father that, like an actual biological father that can give you actual direction, whether it's good or bad. I'm not saying that every father and every son have a good relationship. In fact, one of my fears is not having a good relationship with my son. Um, but that's due time. But part of not having that direction from someone older, I've now had to ask many questions from different people. There's people like, my buddy Juan, who I'm always asking questions. I do see him as a role model, as a maybe not father figure, but I do see him as someone who I'm like, okay, I respect. One of my former coworkers, he's in his mid-50s, so he could definitely be my dad, and I definitely see him as a role model. And then I see a lot of I tend to have a lot of conversations with you know fathers who may be in similar routes that I've been. Maybe what they grew up without a dad, or just things like that. And I ask them similar questions. Well, how do you feel about this? Or do you stress out about this? Do you think about this? And most of the conversations are similar to what I experienced, right? We and I say we as in I'm talking about my friends and I, the ones that I've been able to have a conversation. I can't speak for everybody, but we internalize some of the struggles, right? We internalize some of the stresses, and it's a legitimate thing, at least for me. Now I'm very like positive minded. I I don't believe in playing the victim card. I don't do none of that. I understand that there's disadvantages with different things for different reasons, but it doesn't keep me from dwelling on it. That I can't get ahead. The poor, the little man can't get ahead. No, no, no. I don't believe in that. I'm very aware that there's you know different treatment from different people for different reasons, and that's fine. My job is to ensure that I do the best job possible to give myself, my family, a better future. And it's difficult, right? It's difficult because other people, they they will never tell you, this is the help that I got from my family, therefore I can do X, Y, and Z. I'll give you as an example. I think my wife was speaking of one of her coworkers, and her coworker was like something as simple as this was the high chair for my son to eat, and he's like, oh, we have so and so brand, and I think it was like $250, $300 car seat, right, or high chair. And she told me that, and I was like, okay, I don't know, that's good, then get it, like, that's the one that we need. Then another coworker was like, nah, don't waste that much. Get the $20 one from IKEA, I think. It's all plastic, easy to clean. It works well, whatever. So she's like, which one should I get? And I was like, I don't know. Like, worst case scenario, try the cheap one. If it doesn't work, then at least you tried it. She's like, okay. So we did. We got the $20 one. It's been working great. My son's not really eating with his hands yet, so it hasn't made that big spill. But then she was reading online, like, oh yeah, like once food gets stained there, it smells like the food, blah 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 blah. But at a different work function, they were talking about high chairs and things like that. And then that same coworker that said, oh, I have the $300 one or whatever it was, she's like, oh yeah, my husband got it from the job where he works, because they just had extra, so they gave it to him for free. So my wife was like, how come she failed to tell me that she got it for free? I said, because it's not common to share your advantages. Most people will tell you, yeah, I work hard, I put myself by my bootstraps, how they like to say, but they'll never say, by the way, my parents pay for all my education, so, or my parents pay for this vacation that I'm now posting on social media. So I told her it's a nice reminder for you and for me. It's not just you, but just a nice reminder that, not that she was, your coworker was trying to be mean or lie to you, but she figured, I got value out of this high chair, maybe I'll share with you. And here you're thinking like, damn, we need a $300 one. But if it wasn't for someone else who's like, hey, you don't need that much. Like, so what I'm trying to get at is, yes, we all need a K-swap. I'm not going to pretend like we don't. We all need K-swap. But do it at your own speed. No, you're not behind. No, you're not. You're not evil for pushing, some stuff, behind or at a later time, or postponing it. Yes, your family's the number one thing. At least for me, it's the most important thing. And so, speaking with Easy, he's like, I'm sure you can have your car K-swap right now if you want it. I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. I could have all of the things, all of the bells and whistles, but yeah, it's different when you're the only safety net. I'm sure a lot of you guys are nodding your head like, yep, you might be the person that the family calls when things get rough. Therefore, you stress over things that other people don't. But anyways, at the end of the day, try not to stress. Just go wash your car or something. Thank you so much for the love and support. Peace out, everyone.